Okay, so one of the last things that we're going to go over here before we end this lecture is going to be a couple more features that we can play with walls. Right, so if you go to your wall tool, and all the way at the bottom here you'll see wall sweep and you'll see wall reveal. Right, now what a wall sweep essentially is you're going to have a 2D profile, all right, that you can load in as a family, and basically it sweeps this profile along a certain path. Right, in this case the path is going to be, the face of a wall. Right, so what you can use a wall sweep for are things like crown molding. You can use it for wood base around a room. Right, you can use it for some trim on the outside of a building. Really anything that you're looking for. Okay, and alternately, what a reveal is it does the same thing, but instead of adding geometry to it, it actually cuts out of the wall. Okay, so you can do things such as reveals in the outside of brick, anything like that. Okay, so we're going to go over a wall sweep. All right, and then we can apply the same techniques to the wall reveal. All right, but if we click on wall sweep here, again with the little drop down under the wall tool, okay, you can see by default it's kind of added this wall sweep cornice. Okay, if you go into edit type, we can see here in the type properties is settings to whether it's cuts wall or cuts by the insert. Okay, the profile, this is where you can change the profile for the wall itself. Okay, or I'm sorry, not the wall itself, but your sweep. Right now it's set to default. You can change this to whatever profiles are kind of loaded in here. Right, again, these are kind of the default ones that are loaded in, but you can go through the insert tab in your families and load in other profiles that you may want. Right, here you can change the material as well. Okay, and again, if you're going to make any changes here, make sure that you hit duplicate so you don't screw around with this sweep or any of the other sweeps you might have modeled already. Okay, I'm just going to leave this as is, for demonstration purposes. All right, and hit OK. Now with the tool still active, right, you'll see over here in the Modify tab, you have the option of choosing horizontal or vertical. All right, and if you're going to place it on the outside of your wall, right, as I like to work in a 3D view with this, you can do the same in an elevation view as well. All right, but as you can see here, as you hover along the outside edge of a wall, right, is that it kind of goes in where this profile or this sweep is going to go. Okay, so you can see along the top here, or if you go and bring it down a little bit farther to where there's doors and windows, right, it automatically stops it short when there's inserts in the wall. Okay, what you can do is also do vertical. Okay, and we'll add it vertically as well. And so if I go horizontally here and I click this wall here, say okay, this is where I want to place it. Okay, that's where it places my first sweep. All right, now as you place this sweep, what you can do is you've now placed vertically the position of this. If there's a wall that's connected to it, right, in essence this one, right, if you want this to continue all the way around, right, you can then just quickly select this wall. All right, it'll add that to you automatically. All right, so you can see by doing this, it goes and nicely meets in the corner like this. All right, if you don't do it this way, is you may end up with a corner that kind of they butt together awkwardly, and they don't really match up and merge correctly in the corner. Right, so if you are going to put something like this that kind of wraps itself around a whole room or around the corner of a wall, make sure that you select both walls at the same time. Okay, and once you're done with that, if you hit escape, okay, it can back you out of it, and now you have a wall sweep there. All right, now once you have it modeled, if you select it, okay, you can see on the top here, you can add or remove walls. All right, so if you select that, if you say, you know what, I don't want this wall in here, you can select it, take that one out of it. All right, or if you want to select that one now and say add walls, you can add that one in. Okay, so those are options that you can do to modify the sweep after the fact. Right, the modify returns, so if you notice at the very ends of it here where the return kind of just dies, right, if you do modify returns, you can select the edge of it. Okay, and then what you can do is select the actual edge right here, right, and kind of click and drag it, and you can add a little return to that wall sweep there. Okay, And that's pretty much it with the wall sweeps. There's not a whole lot to go over with them. Again, it's just basically placing them on the outside of a wall or on the inside of a wall and on the edge, and then choosing your profile, all right, that you want to sweep along it. Now, if you're doing, again, if you want to load them in, if you go to Insert and Load Family, all right, you'll find different profiles here, okay? You know, whether they're profiles for, you know, the wall, downspouts, things like that, or any of the other profiles, okay, is you can load them in from there, and you can then choose in the type properties a different profile to sweep across that, okay? And like I was saying, is with the reveal, right, this is placed the same way, changed the same way as well, choose the profile of it, right? And basically with a reveal is whatever material that wall is right there, is you're going to automatically cut out of that. All right, so you can see there what I've done is I've added a reveal instead of a sweep, and it basically cuts in, and whatever material this wall is, it wraps that around. So now that's brick kind of on the inside. Okay, and so instead of adding material like this, it's gone and subtracted it and cut it out of our wall. Okay, so that's how you can add kind of sweeps and reveals. All right. So the last kind of piece of the walls that I haven't talked about yet that I said I was going to get to is the wrapping, all right, of the layers. And we've talked about the structure of our walls there, all right. If I go back to our floor plan, all right, as we talked about in the type properties and in the structure, right, there's these parts here with the wraps, all right, and what it means by default wrapping. Okay, what the wrapping refers to in a wall type, right, is going to be how those layers act when it gets to either the end of a wall like this, or it gets to inserts like windows or doors. Okay, so if you go to your level 1 floor plan, all right, and this will be the first time that we kind of change what's called the detail level of our view. All right, so if you click the modify arrow and just kind of click into space so you don't have anything selected, all right. And in properties for your floor plan here, either right here where it says detail level, or in the very bottom of your view, right, the second one in where it says detail level, is change this from coarse to fine. Okay. What that does is you'll now be able to see the hatch patterns for your different materials and layers in your wall type. Okay. And so if you can imagine, if you're doing a section view, all right, is you change the detail level from coarse to fine. You've basically gone and saved yourself from having to add a bunch of hatch patterns and things in there. It already does it as long as you have the material set up. Okay. All right. So now that we have the detail level changed, is we can see that we can see each individual layer. We can see the hatch patterns associated with our wall and our materials. Okay. Is we're going to get into the wrapping settings of this wall type. Okay. So if we were to select this wall. Select edit type, okay. Right here where it has wrapping and inserts, right, this refers to the wrapping of these layers right here where we have something like a window or a door, okay. Right now it's set to do not wrap. If we set it to something like interior, for example, okay, when we hit OK, right, what we'll see, as you see those interior layers have now wrapped themselves up to meet where that window is, okay? Alternately, if we chose exterior, right, it would do the opposite direction, right? So that's what the wrapping refers to, is that ends like this where you have either cut-ins for the inserts, or if we select edit type again, and right here where it says wrapping at ends, so the ends of walls like this, where it says none, right? Let's set this one to exterior, for example, and we'll hit OK. Right, you'll see now how that exterior layer on the end, right, those kind of wrap themselves around to meet up with those interior layers, okay? That's what the wrapping feature refers to, okay? So you can choose how you want your materials to behave, all right? So if you do have a wall that doesn't meet up with another wall like this, all right, whether or not you want the layers to wrap around, so that way, you know, if you're looking at this and going to end up shooting this as rendering, right, is you're not going to want just a blank cut off piece of the wall, because when that renders, it's going to show up as you know, basically gray, as no material at all. So you're going to want some sort of material to wrap around the corner like that, all right? And it's up to you which materials you want to actually wrap.